Firstly is the introduction to long-span roof. In this introduction, we will be talking about the definition, types and materials, functions and factors of choosing this long-span roof. This long-span roof can be defined as the roof spans that are greater than 12 meter length. Secondly is their functions. The functions are to give protection from dangers and weathers. Also, roof is used to give support to the structure of the building. It can be fabricated in timber, steel, concrete and others. Some of their designs such as base deck, water beam, pitch trusses and etc. These are the few factors that need to be considered in choosing this type of roof structure.
Type of long-span roof system: lattice girder, an iron or steel structure consisting of two horizontal beams connected by diagonal struts, capable of longer span up to 35 meters. Space deck, given larger clear span of up to 22 meters for single span design, give up to 33 meters span for two-way span. This system at one time was widely used for schools and office building structure. Portrait frame. Portrait frames are generally low-rise structures comprising column and horizontal or pitch rafters, connected by moment-resisting connection. Resistance to lateral and vertical action is provided by the rigidity of the connection and the building stiffness of the members, which is increased by a suitable hunch of deepening of the rafter sections. They are very efficient for enclosing large volumes, therefore they are often used for industrial, storage, retail and commercial applications as well as for agricultural purposes. Truss system. A truss is essentially a triangulated system of straight interconnected structural elements. The most common use of trusses is in buildings where support to roof, the floor and internal loading such as services and suspended ceiling are readily provided. The main reason for using trusses are long span, lightweight, reduced deflection compared to plain members and opportunity to support considerable loads. Space frame. Similar to space deck in their basic component but generally more flexible in their design and layout flexibility since their main component is the connector joining together the truss and braces. Space frames are a common feature in modern building construction. They are often found in large roof spans in modernized commercial and industrial buildings. Shell roof. Shell roofs are used for covering large span structure with a single story, for example, assembly halls, recreation center, factories, and research labs. A shell roof is commonly used in public buildings because shell roof is aesthetically pleasing. When the inside of the building is required to be opened without any walls or pillar, then the shell roof is very useful than flat or even pitch roof. Construction process. Long span roof can be fabricated from a number of materials such as steel, aluminum alloy, timber, reinforced concrete, and restressed concrete. Steel is often preferred due to its high strength and because it will not spread fire over its surface. Timber. The steps of roof trusses are: Number 1. Design the roof truss. As with any structural member, a faulty design will undermine even the most professional of installation. The roof truss will need to be able to handle the expected dead load and left load on the structure roof. The truss will also need to be supported adequately at its end. The roof truss will have a horizontal lower chord and two angled upper chord that follow the roof line. This chord will be connected by web members which will be oriented to form triangles. The design should call for the same size number for each member. Number 2. Saw the truss member to size. After design the truss, saw the member to its required length. The truss will likely need to use more than one length of number to make the lower chord. so plan on joining the two pieces at the midspan of the truss. Number 3. Lay the truss member out on the ground. Once all the chord and web member are cut to size, arrange them flat on the ground in the shape of the truss. Make sure that all the connections fit snugly, sewing off additional length if necessary. Number 4. Secure the joint with metal gusset tape. Hammer a gusset tape into wood until it a fully driven in and a plate sit flush against the lumber. Turn the entire truss over then repeat this process on the other side. Number 5. Install the roof trusses. Once the trusses are constructed, lift them into place and set them onto the top plates. Steel roof trusses are used for large-span construction such as factory, industry, shopping mall, and others. It is in two half with both joints at P and Q, the remaining joint being 5 mm fillet weld made in the workshop. The even detail L is given at G, where the rafter and the main T-tube are fillet welded to an end plate. The roof covering in the thickness of asbestos sheeting which should have bitumen bonded gloss wool insulation between the sheets. The plates are used to connect the vertical end tubes of the two halves of the truss. Corresponding joint at Q of the T-member is given at J and K. The two bottom holes in the circular plate are used to fix a longitudinal.
So now let's move on to the research methodology. The literature review is being done by reading through the previous research to get the detailed concepts and its theories. Then, the case study was being chosen from the construction of multi-purpose hall from the project of Polytechnic Besut.
Case study. The project background is pembinaan Politeknik Hulu Terengganu Multi-Purpose Hall. This image shows the location Politeknik Besut. Parties involved for the project cadangan pembinaan Politeknik Besut Terengganu is the client of Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi Wilayah Persekutuan Putrajaya. Parties involved for the project manager is Pengarah JKR Kuala Terengganu, and for the consultant is Arkitek Aliran Cipta Senia Berhad Shah Alam Selangor. Parties involved for the design and build contractor is Black Fox Engineering Senia Berhad Kuala Lumpur. Next, the problem occur and the steps taken to reduce them is the cost. The construction cost is very high because the roof is made from the steel. Next, the problem occur and the steps taken to reduce them is the weather resistance. Lastly, the problem occur and steps taken to reduce them is difficulty during construction of joint and connection.
Method statement. We have 5 operations to construct long-span roof. The first one is truss installation. To complete this construction for 18 days, it need 20 skilled labor and 50 general labor. This is the cost. The second operation is gutter installation. This is the item involved in this operation. It require 2 skilled labor and 5 general labor. This is the cost. The third operation is lay underlay. The material used for this operation is aluminium foil and rock wool. The fourth operation is install flashing. Flashing is needed to help the flow of rainwater. These are the method statement for installing flashing. And lastly, roof covering. Material of roof covering use is concrete. Roof covering include ridge capping and hip capping.
Now, it's turn for the construction process for our case study. The name of our case study are Proposed design and building constructions of multi-purpose hall Polytechnic Besut Terengganu. This project used pitch trusses roof form for the type of construction. Pitch trusses roof form use prefabricated cold lightweight steel trusses, and its advantages are excellent strength for the trusses, and it is designed to be a lightweight structure and provide a great span capacity for the roof. The installation process are truss installation, gutter installation, roof covering installation, and lastly, inspection and checking. The first step of trusses installation are 50, 160, and 360 tons crane are carried out the trusses frame. Secondly, the labor will assemble the truss and erect the bracing to make sure that the trusses is in the right and straight in place. Right after that, trusses are installed one by one at the moment, and lastly, install the stabilizer. For this project, the span are 60 meter with 5 degrees of pitch and 7 meter for the column. Lastly, the spacing are 8 millimeter. For the gutter installation, the labor have installed 200 mm UPVC with brackets and jointing using self-tapping screw. Last but not least, install rainwater downpipe and fix it to the brick wall and column, apron, slab, and not forget to extra for band. For the roof covering, underlayment is the first step. The underlayment of double-sided aluminium foil insulation paper. Secondly, 36 inches wide strip of underlayment are applied. Thirdly, lap each successive layer with 19 inches over the previous layer, and then the layer will lap at the end joints. 25 x 25 of chicken netting mesh will then install after that, and lay rock wool insulation on the chicken wire netting. Fasteners also are used to hold the underlayment. Next is flashing. Before installing the roof tiles, install 750 mm girths of wide strip flashing metal at 11 inches of each side of the valley. 3 time bands dressed over roof sheet and one side tucked into the joints of brickwork, including grouting in cement and sand mortar. For the roof tile, both sides of hips, gable, rack edges, if edges and ridge are included in the roof perimeter. One nail wood then are installed at each of the tile for about 3 tile courses of the perimeter and 36 inches from the perimeter edge to secure the roof tile from falling to the ground in the future. Next, fix all the roof perimeter with tiles on the roof truss system, including concrete ridge capping and hip capping to the roof by bedded, jointed, and painted in color of cement and sand mortar. Let's watch the video. Finally, it is inspection and checking turn. Upon the completion of the roof construction, inspection and checking will be carried out when they hand over to the respective out to satisfy and checking the work done are carried out within the compliance and approved requirement as stated to measure its quality of the work done. For the construction process duration for this case study can be referred as in the table.
For on-site procedures, first things to do is to get permits for commencement work. After that, all workers need to be briefed and inducted regarding safety. Protective clothing or safety have to wear all the times necessary. Number Number 4, rectification of existing roof shall conduct first in order. Number 5, submit rectification report to client or consultant for review. Static lines both end from the edge fascia truss through the ridge. In handling procedures, the supervisor shall ensure heavy-duty cut-resistant gloves and appropriate manual handling technique. Number 2, proper lifting equipment such as cranes and lorry to be used for transport materials. Number 3, the materials shall be attached with packing lists for easy identification before stacking them for handling by cranes and lorry. Number 5, identification marks shall be made on these materials if required. Next, materials should be pre-cut over the ground either by grinder or cutter. Lifting belts or sling balls shall be checked for damage before lifting heavy materials. After that, hooking points shall be checked for prevent slippage. Affected materials for dispatch shall not be mixed with other material. During handling, great care shall be taken to avoid damage. The foreman shall identify area for material to be stored prior to lifting operation. For drop-off hoisting of roofing sheets, mobile crane to be used and location of crane to be situated during loading and unloading activities. Identify building heights, roofing lengths and quantity to be hoisted. Identify location to be hoisted and placed on roof trusses. Signalman shall be equipped with walkie-talkie. Lifting sling and shackle shall be checked before lifting materials. A few bundles only to hoist up and balance bundle to unload at suitable location.
Next is the safety procedure. Safety is one of the factors need to be considered and taken seriously in the construction industry. Construction is a hazard industry whether in developed or developing countries and contributes to safety procedures. Roofing system is known that a roof primarily provides a covering over an enclosure, protecting them from the external environmental influence and action by the temperature nature such as wind, sunlight, snow, rainfall or other harsh climatic effects. Its strength and stability. The roof system function is to provide a great deal of structural rigidity and stiffness to give the support. Second is weather resistance. Roof must be adequately designed to perform such there is zero tolerance on seepage of rainfall, snow or any form of moisture in building. Lastly is thermal resistance. Thermal resistance is also known as thermal insulation, which is a key consideration made in the design of roof so as to strike a perfect balance between prevention of heat loss and removal of excessive undesirable heat from dwellings when necessary.
In the conclusion of this long span roof, it can be defined as a span that exceeds 12 meter length. It can be fabricated in steel, timber or others and came up from few types. Therefore, there are few factors to be considered in choosing these structures. That's all from us. Thank you for watching.